be. I'm curious to see if Apex can at least play to the strengths of their draft. Because if laning goes slow, I think that's where things can go rough very quickly, right? Like, Falcons gonna need to farm, you know, you're gonna need to just try to shove out waves, use your wolves, scout around. Your Drow is gonna need some build up, and then your Earth Spirit only has supports to rotate you. At least Earth Spirit Snap can still maybe line up for 1 kill, but you're likely not gonna get any more beyond that. So that's where the challenge lies for Apex. The lanes do have to come out strong. Mind you, again, IG, yeah, after what we saw yesterday, their laning phase also looked really rough when they were playing. So maybe if Apex figures things out, they can try to look for that punishment, try to apply that lane pressure, and just start to get that ball rolling early to get these heroes online a little bit quicker.
I mean, a lot of question marks for me right now with this draft. But again, I'm very excited to see how this one pans out. Game number 1. Between Apex and IG. No early fights to happen. Just an even trade with bounties. 2 for 2. This mid lane is going to be pretty interesting as well. Like, you're going to have the mid ES against the mid Invoker, which it's not the funnest matchup for an Earth Spirit. But at the same time, we've seen how Earth Spirit mids do tend to deal with these kind of matchups. You just end up pushing the lane with Boulder Smash over and over again. And that way you don't really have to lane too much against the Invoker.
Yeah, you at least dodge out. You can still get some farm and some EXP, although I would say if Wish is not able to secure enough creeps, again, later timing into Earn Spirit Vessel can feel a little bit rough for the Earth Spirit overall. I don't expect Emo to have too much trouble on mid. The first 2 levels for Invoker may be a little bit rougher, but beyond that, you should be feeling fine. You've got great support rotation potential from Ollie at the very least. Maybe the Tinker rotation not as impactful for Baboka early on. Certainly the Elder Titan can try to get things going for themselves here if need be on the mid lane. And we'll see how much Wish can get done. Emo just looking to get some free range harass. He does have Elitist on hand, so he's going to have some lifesteal sustain once Quas is up, a little bit more damage as well once he's got X-Sword up and starts spamming spells around the map. And again, first 2 levels are maybe the opening for Wish. Not going to really try to attempt anything, of course, as you will just smash away in CS, but Emo is not going to be struggling as much as... he shouldn't be struggling as much as we saw him struggle yesterday.
Of course, looking at that top lane as well, like, you've got Yamsung and Samson, Yamsun and Samson against Baboka and Zeal. That's a pretty strong lane, like the Drow Omni Knight, not to be underestimated, especially with all the slow potential you do get at level 3 in particular, can be very scary to have to lane against. Mind you, for now, Zeal and Baboka are having a pretty good old time, not really threatened too much at all. But I'd say the level 3 mark is when you start to get a little bit concerned if you are IG in this offlane. As Emo,
yeah,
already being chased here, John. Wish doesn't have any spells off cooldown, go on.
Yeah, just a little bit of an opportunistic dive from Wish. I feel like it kind of goes both ways up top. Like, at the same time, trying to jump, say, Tinker once he's got Defense Matrix can be a little bit more annoying. Even just the laser for mischances can also be a little bit painful for Yamson, as you already see him losing most of his HP. He's providing spacing out at the very least to farm. We're still seeing that pressure on mid, with Wish getting a few of those levels up. Level 3 does have a little bit more output. But again, threatening the Invoker at this point, not really going to pan out, and you are already seeing Emo just how far ahead he is. 12-2 already in CS, up against Wish at only 7-0. Not the best feelings in the world being a creep wave behind here for that Earth Spirit.
He's got nothing.
Well, he really hasn't abused the Boulder Smash too much so far, at the very least. He has been trying to lane. Emo obviously taking full advantage of the fact that he hasn't really been abusing his Q. About that bottom lane, I mean, you got Fade and Bignum there against Fly and Ollie. Does feel like Fade should be okay to farm, but so should Fly. Like, this is probably one of those lanes where you're not going to see too many kills occurring.
No, I mean, there's maybe some sneaky plays you can do with, like, say, Cookie from a Wolf in the flank, but that's not something you necessarily expect to come out in this kind of lane. You're also giving just additional creeps for Ollie to play with his Astral Spirit, so there's a little bit more for Ollie to kind of right-click away with and try to trade out here. Provide that spacing for Fly. Overall,
Nothing.
again, down the line, even the Luna can just clear out these wolves anyhow, all the minions with the glaives and just all her damage output. So I don't think it's too concerning at the very least for the laning phase here, unless, again, Bignum can kind of line up some shots, but easier said than done. You're more than comfy enough here for Fly to just build up, and this moderate pace isn't too bad, to be fair, for a Lycan. Again, you're just kind of sitting back, trying to get levels, work slowly towards your Dominator, and Dominator into the level 6 is your early spike. That could lead into a very nice connection down the line.
Mid lane, Wish gonna lose all his mana. Meanwhile, Yamsa and Maboka going out of the top lane. I'm surprised they're not choosing to get active against Maboka here. They're actually trying to get away, and Yamson's just gonna die. The top lane has felt very defensive from Apex, because they hit a spike with their level 3, but they just do not even try to abuse it.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit interesting, because again, Maboka is just fairly annoying. You just pop March when you're committing onto him with the Drow, and that's enough to kind of zone out and provide him some healing as well. When you do decide to jump Zeal instead, he's a lot tankier, already has the Helm of Iron Will, and does go for the boar build-up with the Wild Hunt facet on hand. So there's always something to kind of be concerned about in that lane. And in comparison to the minion lane down bot here for Fade, your clearing of the boars and all of these units isn't as straightforward for good old Sammy. You have to commit a spell, it costs you a little bit more mana, and that just makes it a little bit more uncomfy to try to even out that lane pressure here.
Both off-lane heroes as well, going for the Helm of the Dominator build-up. So I imagine Helm of the Overlords to come out, and we're going to have those Zooey kind of games between these two teams. Which is another reason why Apex Genesis may have decided for the Lycan last pick, just to be able to match the Beastmaster. But both sides definitely going for those kind of Zoo itemization as top lane. They are going to make the jump onto Maboka now, and it should be a pretty easy kill. Maboka going to go down, Bignum to take the kill. Sammy standing well back by the tier 1 tower, just not feeling like he was too safe.
Yeah, it's a good rotation to get out some activity early on, relieve some of that pressure on Sammy, who's had a little bit of a slower start, especially in comparison to Fly. The 1v1 lane for Fade you're giving here is not the best thing in the world for the Lycan. Fly is more than happy to, again, just farm away, and that does allow him to get a bit of an early rotation into mid. Maboka is spotted out, though.
Bignum to be fine. Maboka the one that should be in danger, but a nice stomp from Ollie going to put an end to all of this, and there will be no chase from Apex Genesis. They're going to let him walk away. I mean, Emo was there as well in case they needed it, but it seems like just with the echo stump of Ollie, it will be more than enough to not allow Apex to chase.
Yeah. Again, you're kind of happy with the game state right now on the side of IG. You relieve potential pressure bot. You're making this lane hellish for Fade solo. He is still keeping up in CS, but Fly is just running away with a bot lane already. You're having a great time for Zeal up top, since the supports were forced to rotate into the mid for the rune. So the Beastmaster is still getting his own steady build up into that Dominator, and do manage to get a swing around here from Ollie. A little bit deep, with a lot of creeps to protect Fade, but already some early poke onto that tier 1 just from Fly constantly shoving this wave in.
Well, the thing is, like, IG have won at least 2 out of the 3 lanes, and the last lane being the off lane, which is pretty even so far between the Drow and Beastmaster. But the mid lane and safe lane has been very, very good for IG, though I say that Emo's being jumped as we speak. He may just be going down, though the heals are coming in. Emo trying to survive, but will drop. And that's a very important kill to see here for the side of Apex. So I think Emo is just getting a little bit too far ahead. Ollie still being jumped by Wish as the Magnetize will continue. And that should mean Ollie is set to fall, but he'll try for a stomp. But the Magnetize will get the job done from Wish. A very nice set of kills here in the mid lane for Apex.
And they're starting to play off that momentum that, again, we mentioned in the draft. They do need to tempo themselves around this Earth Spirit. Wish has 2 Earn Chargers off the back of those sets of kills, been reapplying them, is going to have a nice ride now into that Spirit Vessel. And for the Invoker, it does take some time for you to kind of feel good in terms of just your output. Like the Witchblade kind of has to kick in. Still a ways off from that one. Early rotation already to up top here for Fly contesting the stacks. And they will cut Sammy away from this flash farm. Just snag it away, or at least snag some of it away. And apply pressure now onto that top tier 1 as well. Which, again, With a Beastmaster on hand, with the Dominator already up here for Zeal, it shouldn't take too long. Of course, Fade will try to replicate that down bot. Maybe a slightly slower process for him with the Dominator still yet to fly out.
It's just on the courier, but it is certainly slower, and Baboka is going to be able to TP down and just defend the tier 1 tower pretty much on his own. Much of the machine spam can be committed, and when he feels like it, that is. And Fade, he's just going to continue securing farm for now. I mean, the thing with Lycan as well, you are going to have a lot of solo pick-off potential once you do have the Helm of the Dom up, and especially once you have the Helm of the Overlord up. So I don't mind Fade taking maybe a little bit of a slower game, as Baboka will get jumped by Wish. Wish has been very active for the last minute or so, and it is certainly paying off, as they will kill off Baboka once again.
Yeah. Nice little pickup again for the Earth Spirit to keep trying to snowball away. However, that does expose mid. Zeal just gets the rotation back in, has the 2 Boars, has 1 Centaur creep. Not going to take too long to just wipe this objective. I don't see a great contest coming out from Apex. Magnetize utilized from Wish for that kill down bot, so they just have to sit back and watch their towers fall. The map control here from IG is still in a very happy spot. And bot's just shoving in, but Baboka's just going to spawn back in, just march it up. And again, this is what Tinker does best. If you can hug onto these tier 1s for long, you're going to be happy.
Mid lane, they might try on to Emo, but Wish has lost all his mana to the EMP. Is now Baboka going to try and go through the twin gates and will make it. Fade popping the shapeshift, but it won't matter. So he had no way to stun up the Tinker. Baboka's actually going to go right back through the twin gates now and get back to defending the tier 1 tower. This mid lane. They'll try to jump Yamsun. Yamsun going to make it a little bit challenging with the rappel up, though it does eventually come off. Still running, but he is underneath vision, so they will land the tornado eventually, and Yamsun will die to Ollie with the Astral Spirit to come in. And so IG, and not to be outdone, I mean, they got those early tier 1 towers. They're getting very active with their ganks, and well, I can't say too much the same for Apex. The Baboka is currently dying to Wolves. He might just be dead, in fact, to Fade, because he can just get the creeps to chase him. Baboka, now completely trapped in the tree line, will go down. But Sammy will also die to Zeal. In the meantime, Emo going to TP down to the bot lane, but the kisses are incoming. Emo still alive, will try to fight back as Flyfly will also join in. Fade trying to find a way out, but does get put to sleep by Ollie. Emo, though, still dropping low, but now, yeah, he does go down. But Fade will drop to Buddhas. Now here comes Wish. Magnetize out. Fly dropping low, should go down. The block from Ollie on the roll, but it won't matter. Fly will drop as now Apex looking for more, and they'll get it. Ollie does drop. And I'll tell you what, I mean, Wish is the one saving grace right now for Apex. Constantly finding all the kills, and he might just have Baboka again. He's a bit low on mana though. He won't bother.
Yeah, just a tad bit too low. No Magnetize as well to just secure that kill, of course, popping it in the wider team fight. For IG, I mean, it's a costly defense. 4-for-3 trade in favor of Apex. You do manage to, again, get all of that gold onto Wish, so the Spirit Vessel is flying in, but the tier 1 still stands. I mean, they understand what they have to do with this Tinker, right? Like, holding on to this tier 1 is paramount, and it does also slow down the pacing of Fade. He can't just invade the jungle as often as he'd want. He can't just hug that area safely. There's always a nice forward teleportation spot here for IG. On the side of Apex, again, losing their own tier 1's not the best feeling in the world, just less secure in their own jungle, although IG hasn't really ventured too far out just yet, outside of that one movement earlier towards the mid-top jungle area. 5-8 kill lead coming out for Apex, but the game state still feels like it's in a pretty decent spot for IG. You are getting most of your investment on Fade, again, being left solo for the most part down bot, eventually finding that tier 1 tower, and is very close to that full Helm of the Overlord. So you will have a lot of shenanigans with the shapeshift coming out now, with a full assembly ready. Just keeping it locked until he sees what's on hand here, and does have a stack. There's a bit of a ancient black dragon if he so wishes to keep that farm pace up. That is one thing that's highly effective for the Lycan at the very least with his facet. With pack leader up, there is a lot of damage that can come online. You just need to find that squishy backline, and your best target is always going to be Baboka. Defensive tools for Baboka. Defense Matrix is not enough to save you. Maybe if you have Warp Flare, you can kind of try to buy yourself space, but the Horde will still try to catch you out. So That's going to be your nice, easy target every time.
I love the smoke immediately off the Helm of the Overlord pickup from Fade. They've been really waiting for this, and it is going to be very scary because even Emo on the Invoker, like, unless he gets a Ghost Walk off, it's going to be pretty hard to get away from all these units once the Shapeshift has been committed. And, well, they're going to jump in. Ollie does get rolled on by Wish. A nice target to start on. TPs are incoming. I don't know if they really want to take this fight, though. IG, they'll lose Ollie. That's the start. Emo being targeted by this Ancient Black Dragon, but they don't want to dive past the T2 towers, though Wish now getting jumped. He will need some help. They'll jump in and just soak up some of the Sunstrike here for Wish. They'll even pop the Guardian Angel of Yamsun to really ensure he gets out just fine. And that he will. But that's all they really get out of this. No T1 tower, just a kill onto Ollie.
Does force out the Roar and the Eclipse. Massive commitment out from IG as well, and trying to find that opportunity onto Wish. Great patience out from Fly and from Zeal, just standing in the high ground, looking for that roll to be casted, stunning him mid-roll. Try to get that control off, but just not enough. Emo's still hanging here.
Oh, that's a very aggressive position for Emo. TP's incoming to help, but Ollie may have just saved the day, but no, he's still dying to the Spirit Vessel and the Kisses, and now Baboka, who also rotated to help out, will go down. Oh, this is getting very concerning now if you're IG. Things are getting very hot here for Apex, and I mean, they're well within their spike now. This is when you've got to really avoid any fights with this dire team.
And you do. You just need to dodge out, build up some more on your Luna. Not quite at the end state yet for this hero. You do need some recovery to come out for Zeal. Just the Witchblade alone isn't going to cut it. You have level 1 Exort, not the most spell amp as well, to try to play off of that Witchblade and right-click damage. So you do need time on the side of IG, and this is when Apex needs to kind of just run down. I think they've got early damage lined up from Fade. He's working onto a very fast Nullifier here as well. Just try to take off the defense matrix every time it flies on. It's going to take away some big saves for the side of IG that they're very reliant on at the moment. Again, a bit surprising from IG. Like, after that big scuffle on mid, they should have known. They didn't see anyone low. They popped all their spells. Apex Genesis was still in a very good spot to just continue that push.
Oh, here we go. Fade's doing something a little bit cheeky here with Bignum. Fly being watched by the Wolves. Cookie's going to land. They'll just send the units in, and you can see how much damage they deal. In fact, Fly is just going to TP out. He's all right. If Fade had popped Shapeshift and got the crits off, that could have made all the difference.
Yeah. And Fly just gonna have to watch himself every single time. Again, like you mentioned, Fade is a Lycan specialist. He is scouting nicely with the Wolves and just pressuring onto IG, even with just the summons overall. Fly not gonna be feeling safe in that bot jungle. Might even Tinctor's vision. It's just, again, straight up Wolves here. From the side of Apex, much harder to clear out. IG, for their part, what timings are we looking for? Again, Overlord's been up for from Zeal for a while. He does have his...
Zeal, he's going to get jumped. Wish will miss the initial roll, but gets the silence off into the boulder smash. And Zeal, he's dropping. That Spirit Vessel doing a lot of work, as now the Kisses do come in. Zeal trying to run, but cannot make it. The defense matrix comes in, and he does get healed up. Just barely, Zeal will make it out. Still, Wish will continue chasing now with the Magnetize still going onto Baboka. He can continue to spread it. And he will try, but he's being controlled up here by Emo. Almost out of mana. Meanwhile, Yamsun about to go down, but gets the Guardian Angel off in time. It still will drop as now Wish. He's back in again. What a boulder smash. Wish, he'll take down Emo. And Ollie's in trouble. Ollie will be chased by the Wolves of Fade and does go down. A beautiful reinitiation here from Wish. And Apex again, this is not the time to fight this dire team. They are looking a bit too strong right now.
That they are. They need their defensive tool to be up first on the side of IG. And we're a long ways off from any of that coming online. You've got Vlad's lined up for Zeal. You still have to finish up your 4-staff here on Emo. The Manta is at least done on Fly, but it's just not going to cut it with all of the ways they can angle in and just try to chain control off the back of Wish here. Roche going to be taken out by the side of Apex. Nice, quick, and easy here. No threat from the side of IG, although IG will scout. They are close enough to try to force something, but not looking to commit.
Sammy?
Not quite.
He's got the Aegis on Sammy. I was a little bit afraid We might have seen something a little bit silly happen again because he had the Aegis on the deck for quite a while, but he does pick it up safely. Had to put the diadem, you know, outside of the backpack for a bit. Not to be outdone though, IG still pushing out multiple lanes here, and obviously this is the way to just ensure that Apex can't really do much with their Aegis, is just keep the lanes pushed in and force them to defend over and over again. So for now though, the only lane that's really deep is probably the mid lane, where you are seeing the creeps by the tier 2 tower. Wish will go ahead and take care of it, and I wouldn't blame Apex for just smoking up again. If they have any available, it just seems like the best play they can make right now. Just keep fighting.
And they kind of have to. Again, there's a tipping point where it can get a little bit scary. Like, Wish is just completely taken away once BKBs start to form up, if that's a item prioritization here for IG. Your scaling for Drow versus Luna is very interesting. Again, there is a range advantage for the Drow, but once someone's top of that Drow, the Luna doesn't feel too bad. Gap closing in, just getting her superior right click, which isn't limited by enemies close by you. They are scouting around though, and again, aggressive positioning still out. They're not going to be able to catch out Baboka this time. But they are sticking as a unit. This is cutting into some efficiency in farming. Again, despite all these kills, and despite the Aegis, they don't really have a net worth lead to speak of on Apex. So it doesn't quite feel like they're getting enough out from this momentum just yet. IG, they're still finding farm overall.
But they are. So the attempt at the gank here from Apex not really going to work out, and IG will be more than happy to just sit back and relax. Fade does have that nullifier up, by the way, so, you know, I would have loved to try and make use of that nullifier immediately, but for now, back to the farm game for the Lycan. I wonder what kind of itemization he's looking for now as well. Like, now that you've got the nullifier up, what's the idea for Fade? Like, do you build into like AC or something like that, you know, just to help out the team a little bit? Maybe just go for a BKB on your own accord if you feel like you need it. Well, it looks like the answer is going to be shards for now.
Yeah, just keep constant wave pressure in. Something that we used to see out from Lycan. The shard pickup does do a lot of work in just ensuring someone's going to have to respond at some point. At the very least, you will still be able to get your Tormentor here on the side of IG. Free shard for Baboka. So the Warp Flare is up for a little bit of save from the chase down. Mind you, again, the creep army is not going to care for that. You can only Warp Flare one thing away. So you can still try to burst down this Tinker. He is starting to heal like a ton more though. Holy Lock it up. You've got the double null, which isn't as much int, but still helps in trying to get that lower cooldown reduction here for sure. It's not going to be as silly for the support Tinker with the Nullifier nerf, Null Talisman nerf. It does feel like this is probably the most impacted hero by the Null Talisman change, as it was his free stat right to his full max CD reduction.
Well, that's unfortunate. Not really though, I mean, it is Tinker, who cares? Nobody cares.
No.
Apex Genesis. Bottom T2 tower to be taken. Update to the question I had previously, by the way. We are seeing Fade build into a BKB into an Assault Cuirass, so nothing's changed too much here with this hero. Meanwhile, on the side of IG, I mean, you are obviously seeing Fly now look to build towards Akanda, so it's the pretty standard Luna build-up that we're used to seeing. Emo trying to go for a BKB of his own now. There is going to be a smoke from Apex Genesis, but also a smoke from IG, and they're going right to the twin gates. Fly is going right through them as well. Oh, Wish comes through! Fly! Oh, the timing! Fly gets Bignum, they'll lose Ollie. Baboka's still trapped here by himself, but Fly's going to come right back through and help out. They'll go after Yamsum, they'll secure that kill, but now Baboka still dropping low. Tries to heal up and will do so, but the Magnetize still being refreshed by Wish. They'll keep it up on Fly to boot, but it seems like Apex do not want the fight. And IG, they'll lose one, but they'll claim two.
I'm more than happy with that trade. Bignum alone as a solo kill for Fly is a huge boon in gold. Nakonda now just one part away, just lacking that recipe for Fly off the back of that kill. And again, for Apex, just unfortunate timing. It just felt like both sides thought no one was going through the gate. They were just seeing both of them just channel in. And, well, they get the bigger pick-off on the side of IG, unfortunately. Just rough timing. If you had your Snapfire go in first, perhaps, managed to cookie around, managed to maybe scatter blast instead of solo dying to fly. Could have been a different story here for Apex. But IG, again, staying in the game. 1K net worth advantage going their way, even though it's 8-14. And that tempo from Apex, since taking Aegis, it has felt like it's slowing down a bit. And at this point, maybe you just kind of wait out this BKB for Fade and the BKB for Wish, as that will force a pretty tough call from Zeal as to who is going to be prioritized through the debuff immunity. That's her only way of really contending with the nuisances coming out here from Apex. It's only Roar. So once double BKBs are up, I think that's when the tempo kicks back in here for Apex for sure. And it's just going to take a little bit more time to get that done. Just need to be a bit patient. Roche still 2 minutes away as well until we see that timer. Should align with that double BKB timing. And that's where the fights start to get interesting. Whether or not you have enough on IG to pierce through the BKBs, whether or not you even have those same BKB timings lined up here for IG is also a very different question entirely, as at the very least Emo should have his BKB, but whether or not Fly manages to find that timing in the next 2 minutes is maybe a bit of a different question, depending if they can pressure him.
Top lane, I mean, they do have an option to go after Emo. Emo not really showing, but Wish knows he's there because he was farming a creep wave, and Wish going to show himself now on a raiding creep wave. So Emo should know to back off, but throws a rogue tornado out. Wish going to pop the Invis rune and run. Meanwhile, Sammy and Yamsun right around the corner, but with the way Emo's playing, you'd assume his team's behind him, and of course Apex, they will retreat. They're not looking for a fight where they're completely blind. And IG, they're just playing the farm game, which is pretty standard with their draft. There's just no reason for them to try and rush this game themselves. So they'll happily continue working towards some more big items. And as you just saw, the Guardian Greaves now fully available on Baboka, which is going to make life even more annoying for Apex now. BKB coming up very soon on Fly. And Apex, yeah, they've kind of come to a complete stop here.
Yeah, again, since taking that Aegis, you just haven't been able to play up-tempo since then. And they're needing to wait for their own BKBs, allowing IG to farm into that same timing. Smoke out now from IG with the double BKBs set to go, or at least the one BKB on Emo more than enough for the Invoker to be a nuisance here.
Wish just picked up his own BKB though, and I don't think they know about it quite yet. Emo will break his smoke, so will Fly, and they'll see the Earth Spirit, but he can always BKB through this if necessary. Still, he'll wait for the repel instead. So that's your initiation, just kind of going down the toilet for IG. They still have some decent vision around that area, but it won't really matter. I think IG are kind of spooked out. And they might just, again, go back to the drawing board. Maybe wait for another day to force a fight. But again, the vision's still there. They can see Sammy Boy as we speak.
Good scouting out by Ollie. I think it's a little bit risky without one.
He found Ollie himself. Ollie not going to be able to survive as the units are right on top and the kisses will come flying in. Though I say he's not able to survive, he's still healing up through this. And it seems like Wish is going to refresh the Magnetize one more time, and that may actually be enough, but not quite. It's this damn Tinker. Not going to allow the death of Ollie.
Nope. Defense Matrix is a great spell. Spam it out. That's 2 commitments out. Magnetize down along with Kisses. Not the longest cooldown in Magnetize, a little bit longer on the Kisses, so maybe an opportunity for IG. If this BKB timing for Fly lines up, again, you are already at your own BKB timings for Apex. It's up for Fade, and again, fully up for Wish as well. And only Sammy kind of not going that route. He's been far back enough that it doesn't feel necessary for the Drow anyhow. Roche in a minute and a half. IG already starting to set up in that top area. They do have vision set up now as well. Inside of Apex, I mean, if they want to keep that tempo, they've got to be able to jump in here. Smoke out from IG.
Bit of a shame for IG because it's a slow Roshan timer. So the cooldowns that were expended by Apex, they're going to be back up and ready whenever Roshan is up. In fact, they'll be ready much before that. So Apex almost ready to take a fight again. They'll have Magnetize in a second. Kisses up in 20 seconds or so. They'll reveal themselves in that top creep wave, just trying to force it out. Fly does also reveal himself, but that's not exactly the target you want to jump first, as Wish Will get hit by a tornado. Yamsun is behind him, ready to help out, but the roll does get cancelled. Wish is taking a fair bit of damage, and he's almost dead. But he'll survive. Just barely. Roshan's still 30 seconds away. It's a shield room for himself now before the Roshan. Smoke up from Apex Genesis. They'll run through the river up the top lane. They'll see Fly farming the area, but they, again, don't really want to jump the Luna first. She's a bit of a hard target to burst down with the BKB up. Wrap around the Roshan pit. Roshan up in 3 seconds now. And there's Roshan. Roll in. Wish. He's found Emo. They'll start with the Invoker, and it'll be a great target if they can burst him down. In fact, they'll turn their attention onto Baboka. They want to get rid of that pesky Tinker, and Baboka is down. A great start for Apex. No buyback on Baboka. Eclipse committed from Fly, but on an illusion, and Sammy will hand the tip over. A bit of a bait play for Sammy, and now they can take the fight. Fly, do you really want to stick around? They're going to try and force the fight with the Roar out, and now the Chaos Meter to jump in, but Fly pops the BKB. Bignum is down. Sammy is low.
Sammy?
Emo is chasing. Sammy, he's trapped between a rock and a hard place. Sammy
no,
is...
Sammy. Oh, Lord.
Well, IG will clean up. Tinker or no Tinker, they'll catch the Drow Ranger, and Sammy will fall. And now Roshan will go the way of IG.
I mean, it's a nice sneaky play from Sammy, a nice sneaky play from Apex overall. That long flank from Fade, still in smoke, ran in behind the pit, isolating Baboka, was quite nice. It's just that he had to pop Shapeshift very early. BKBs were on from the side of IG at release for Emo up front. You did manage to hold on to your BKB for Fly, and that just allowed to re-engage, right? Like that initial jump in from Wish counteracted by all of the spell debuff immunity, and it just made it challenging for Apex. That's how they've been winning these fights. Like, yes, the physical damage of Fade is nice, the physical output of your Drow is nice, but when it comes down to it, all of this has been off the back of Wish. Rolling in, ensuring the Invoker can't cast any spells. That's not the same fight we saw here.
It was not, no. Now, Ollie's been doing some fantastic work as well, just making it borderline impossible to follow up with these kills with these Echo Stomps. In fact, that last fight where they did pick off Baboka, Ollie just Echo Stomped the ancient creep that Fade had, and that just meant Fade couldn't really keep going because the creep was asleep. A lot of his power just wasn't there, and it allowed the Wolf form and the BKB to run out without too much more action happening for Fade. So very problematic against this this ET rather, the Elder Titan. Ollie's been doing some fantastic work. And now, of course, IG, they'll take a very easy bottom tier 1 tower. And they might just stick around for the tier 2 while they're at it. I do not believe Fly is very afraid.
It's certainly not. Has the BKB off cooldown, has the Manta to save as well from the initial jump in. If you can get that timing right. Still has the Aegis for 3.5 minutes, lots of time left, and no problems here for the side of IG. Only one outer tower left for the side of Apex, in stark contrast to what happened when Apex had Aegis. Right? They opted to just play the farm game, try to hit their own BKB timings. IG were also just working into those BKB timings, and when it comes down to it, you have more ways to deal with debuff immunity on the side of IG, just purely off of just zeal. Right? The Roar alone kind of makes it so that it's easier for IG to play into this initial timing. Already forced to use the Fortify on the tier 3, and that leaves an opening for the tier 2 with no fort issues whatsoever, and the re-engage onto the high ground until you take the racks. So you have a lot of time to just do what you want here on the side of IG if they want to siege.
Wish?
You managed to get a split push going with Fade, at least.
Looks like they're going to smoke up, perhaps, here, Apex Genesis. Or they're just remaining grouped up, perhaps, but... Again, I don't think they can afford to play too slow of a game against IG. Fly now has a full Skadi available. T2 tower push is incoming by IG, and keep in mind, Fly has Aegis for another 2 minutes 20 seconds, so plenty of time to go high ground if IG want to try. They'll take the tier 2. Just wait out the creep wave and see if they want to go again. And the high ground attempt is still relatively scary against Apex Genesis, and Flyfly decides better of it. He'll go through the bottom lane. Well, the tier 3 tower is already very low, and now it looks like it's just dead. Roll in. Wish. Oh, nice man to dodge from Fly. He'll still get kicked back though. Fly running. Vessel is placed on him. Wish continuing to chase, but there's really no backup for him. He needs to get the hell out, but the roar is there. Still will lock down the Earth Spirit. They'll try to help out with the repel. In fact, it's going to be enough. Wish will make it out. They do also halt the push of IG. Wish will continue to refresh the Magnetize the best he can. And all they've lost is the tier 3 tower. They have not lost any barracks quite yet. The issue is IG have reset and they're going again.
Yeah, I mean, you had to pop Kisses, you had to pop Magnetize, even Shapeshift still down for Fade. So you are just free to go for Flyfly. He didn't have to pop his BKB. You did have to utilize Roar, but not the end of the world. Going through that debuff immunity from Wish to cut off that aggression. They clean up one Rax, and Flyfly, still a minute in the Aegis, will just try to go for another.
Well, the thing is, it doesn't really feel like Sammy's doing any damage here on the Drow Ranger either. Like, every time he hits somebody, it's just not very impressive at all. Multiple hits on Flyfly, just doing no damage. And, well, at the very least, Fade has been a bit of a nuisance trying to creep skip here with these wolves. He does lose his ancient creep though, sadly. Emo will happily take a plus 250 for himself. It looks like Fade has the idea to just continue creep skipping and making this push as hard as humanly possible for IG. But IG, not to be dissuaded, will go in once again. Flyfly now taking quite a bit of damage here from Sammy, but he will be having his Aegis expire in 1 second, so does choose to back off. And now buys out a Blink instead. So looking for the Swift Blink build up on the Luna, and that is certainly going to make life a living hell for Sammy, who's probably not going to be able to avoid the Blink Eclipse that will be coming.
Yeah, it's going to be painful for Sammy. I mean, at least he has his Hurricane Pike to try to get out of dodge. So there is that tool, at the very least maybe a pullback as well down the line here from Wish. But you were saying earlier whether or not Apex have lost their tempo. I feel like since Aegis they have. Like since that Roche fight that they took where they won, had Aegis just opted to farm, and that was their key timing. To pressure onto the high ground, pressure these tier 2s, shut down the map, prevent IG from playing efficiently across the map and scaling up. And that timing is kind of out the window with all these BKBs up. You're at the point where you actually kind of have to bank on Fade and Sammy to try to out-damage them and play around Guardian Angel and Repel more often than not, which is easier said than done with how IG's been playing this one.
Roll forward, Wish. Oh, that's a bit of an awkward situation now for Wish. I mean, he's looking for some kickback plays, but it's not too easy as an Earth Spirit, and well, even then the kick range is not huge either. Not like you have the Ags up to really get a nice kickoff, but of course IG at a stage now where they understand they're the much stronger team. There is going to be a 5-man smoke though, Apex. They do not really want to force the fight high ground. I do not believe. Maybe looking for a surprise initiation. They'll sneak up from behind. Sammy will stay on the high ground. They'll get some D-wards off here with Bignum. Fade and Wish looking to try and move him from the back. They'll see Flyfly, but he's not an easy target. They'll leave him alone. And it is very hard to know how this initiation's even going to happen from Apex Genesis. So you are at the stage where Flyfly can just turn around with his BKB and just wipe the whole team.
Pretty much. It just kind of boils down to this draft. It's all the pressure in the world on Wish. It's the Earth Spirit that has to do everything to open up these fights for Apex, and we've seen him try. It just feels impossible from the high ground. He will get the kickback now, though.
It's a kickback, but you've got 4 staffs ready whenever. I mean, he's popped the wolf form. They want to try. This is the fight they're going to give a crack at him, but Boca is dropping and does go down onto Flyfly. They'll try now, but Flyfly running with his BKB. The thing is, it is about to wear off, so Wish will roll in, and Earthspitter is going to connect on 2. They're still trying, but Emo with the Chaos Meteor, wiping out 2 of them. Sammy's on the run. So is Fade. They are not looking too happy here as Emo continues to chase them down. Lands a tornado on Sammy, but Sammy's looking for the fight back now against Emo, and they'll find him. A couple buybacks committed here by Apex Genesis. The buybacks, they're not going to mean too much, but they have somewhat defended once again.
That they have. A little bit messier than you'd like it to be, considering it costs you 2 buybacks to get some punishment out onto Emo, who does go a little bit further in comparison to Fly and Zeal already on the retreat. Maybe just, again, angling for an opportunistic kill on Sammy, but the save coming out from Yamsen's buyback does give enough HP to last through. This is buying time for Apex. Again, we're at the point where you're more reliant now on just outright trying to scale on this Lycan, on this Drow. Damage is starting to pump up now for Sammy, is going for the Daedalus into Butterfly. And once that's up, you can just rip this Luna to shreds, and the range is going to be an issue. But Swift Blink already fully done on Fly, so he can't just blink on top and force the Hurricane Pike maybe a little bit quicker than you'd like it to be. You'd like it to be here for yourself and the Drow. 5k lead still standing for IG. Next Roshan in a minute 40. Apex can now set up in that area themselves, so they have the at least the lane shove advantage for the moment. An amp damage rune up for a minute longer here as well, but no one's scouting it out. Smoke out from IG a little bit early here in anticipation of Roshan.
Still a minute and a half away. Roshan not spawning early at all this game. Blink bought out from Yamson, so I suppose he just wants to be able to close the gap if he does need to save his teammates, and well, that's fair enough. Still both sides grouped up. The smoke has not amounted to much quite yet, but they still do have time. Fly has plenty of time for the amp damage rune as well, so this could be a devastating fight for Apex to try and take. They will see the amp damage, and that'll allow them to retreat and just wait that one out, because you certainly don't want to have to fight into that. Now, Roshan's still 45 seconds away from respawning. But Apex, they have a mid lane to try and deal with. And so instead, they are going to be forced to just retreat and defend.
Yeah. Roshan spawn time is going to be daytime as well down bot, so you've got the advantage back on IG's way. No vision setup, but the creep advantage is certainly going to be a bit revealing here for Apex to try to make that jump down. Rosh shouldn't take too long as well once it is up and running. Are seeing still the shove mid from Fade, but you always have Baboka at least to clear out these creep waves, so the Tinker to deal with the Lycan is a very nice solution already. You already have the blink up for Baboka as well. You can just kind of be out of any risky position on that TP and to clear out the creep waves. We do see the shove back on that bot lane, and Rosh scan will connect, so they know Roshan is going to be the one, but again, with all the sentries down, the scouting from Fade isn't going to be as effective here.
They're around. Apex, they want to fight. Roshan is up. There's a refresher shard sitting on that Roshan, as well as the Roshan banner, Aegis, and Cheese. So they do not want to allow it to go for free, and quite frankly, I don't think Apex can really afford to lose this next Roshan. But Baboka's being very annoying, just split pushing the mid lane constantly. If you're going to fight, you're going to have to do it very soon, because this mid lane is going to be hitting your barracks once again in just a moment. Still trying to be very patient about this. We shall start to move in. Smoke from Fade.
Sammy? That's very forward.
Sammy? Oh, he's very far forward, but he does get forced off that. It's Fade. He's going to pop the wolf form. They'll go for a chase, but they're trying onto Zeal. He's not exactly a squishy target here for Fade, so Fade's really out of options. He'll just run around, continuing to look for Baboka, but Baboka is well and truly hidden behind the Roshan pit and protected by IG. It's like 3 bodyguards around Baboka just to ensure he cannot get caught by this Lycan. And I think Apex, they've just given up now on the Roshan attempt.
Yeah.
And they have.
I mean, again, they had a decent enough angle. Sammy takes the shortcut in. Fly is just standing on ramp, and that's enough to just ensure that a lot of their DPS is gone. You get cut off on that lower ramp as well. Position from IG just too clean. It's a rough position for Apex to try to force the movement in. Again, no vision. The new sentries were around. Hard to scout around with the wolves. And they lose their chance. Still a very even game in terms of net worth, but the map stays certainly in IG's favor. When the secondary life back up for Fly, they just need to throw some bodies and try to clear out the last few racks. The melee mid and the entire set up top. Not much left for the side of Apex.
Certainly not. You just gotta hope for a miracle on your high ground. Gotta hope that IG makes some mistakes if you are Apex right now. I mean, Sammy does almost have a butterfly up. Like, he is starting to hit very hard. Also has a Daedalus available on the Drow. The Drow Ranger starting to become somewhat of a problem if she's allowed to just hit people, but that's kind of the issue. Is IG have no intention of allowing him to just stand there and hit you. So now the butterfly up. No buyback available here for Sammy Boy. Smoke up from IG, right behind Fly. Emo's holding onto the refresher and the cheese. So this Invoker could be very, very challenging to deal with this next fight. And we've seen Emo, if he gets the right spells off, it can be quite devastating. Fly, gonna get jumped by Wish. Into the kickback. Fly. Already losing half his HP here to Sammy. Might just lose the Aegis straight off the bat. In fact, there was a crit to come in, but the hills are out. Fly will protect the Aegis, but here comes Fade. He's having none of it. That's the Aegis down. So this Invoker could be very, very challenging to deal with this next fight. And we've seen Emo, if he gets the right spells off, it can be quite devastating. Fly, gonna get jumped by Wish. Into the kickback. Fly. Already losing half his HP here to Sammy. Might just lose the Aegis straight off the bat. In fact, there was a crit to come in, but the hills are out. Fly will protect the Aegis, but here comes Fade. He's having none of it. That's the Aegis down. Sammy also almost dies, but he will barely make it out. Onto the Ancient though goes Zil. He's looking for a raw attempt, but the repel was there to save. In comes Fly now with the Eclipse, but no, it's just a loosened beat for now. Eclipse eventually committed, but Fly, is he too deep? Fade, he's gonna move in. Wish, he was looking for a kickback, but the BKB was still going. So Sammy gonna try, Roll-in is there. Fly in huge trouble right now, needs to continue running. Sammy, he'll turn his attention onto Zil, who's looking for a raw round on the Beastmaster. He'll commit it onto the Earth Spirit, but Zil is down. Emo getting shredded. He'll get the cheese off in time though. Sammy gets blown up by Fly. Oh boy. Emo, I think may have handed the refresher shot over to Fly mid-team fight. A secondary Eclipse coming out. And in fact, that was the case. Sammy just not anticipating the secondary Eclipse, and it does cost him his own life. No buyback available.
Yeah, a lot of sick plays from IG. These Manta dodges from Fly perfection, especially as his BKB was ending the first time from that roll-in from Wish, allowing the Fly to just stand his ground, get everything he'd need from his Tinker in terms of healing back up. And Apex Genesis, without Sammy, that's a lot of damage cut off. They at least have Shapeshift ready to go once more, but without that Drow, it does feel like that damage is lacking. It just doesn't take that much time for Fly with Alacrity to rip through everything on the high ground, everything in that base.
Yeah, they're going to try with their Snap Fire, but there's no chance in hell. GG will be called here by Sammy, and that'll be game one. Going the way of IG is... Well, Apex, between these two teams, to see if... Apex Genesis can force us to a game 3, or whether we're going to see another 2-0 victory. You already kind of mentioned this before game 1, but you don't really want to be the team that has 2 losses and no wins, because it does not put you in a very good standing in the group stages. And your 3rd loss is basically just a guaranteed out. So, not a good position to be in if you do end up getting 2-0'd here for either side. And at least IG won't be getting 2-0'd, but they could get 2-1 if Apex find a way in this game too. Still, I do like the draft of IG a lot better, I might add. I don't have much faith in what Apex has drafted for themselves, but we'll see. As Emo, he does break his smoke in the mid lane, so a bit of an obvious smoke rotation incoming, and Apex Genesis, they're going to smoke up as 4 as well. Fade and Fly both going to have their smokes broken, but Fly's in a very awkward position. Brambles is going to lock him in for a little bit. They'll start to get to work, but they have a low ground disadvantage on Apex, so they're looking to try and run. Wish will turn back around for a Resonant Pulse, and does manage to get away with that extra shield. So there will be no first blood to be drawn. So Fade will stick around to try and steal a bounty room, but he doesn't have anything like Skewer. Of course, Fly will pick it up, but they are still going to try for a kill onto Ollie. And they might just have him. Ollie will go down. Fade with the first blood as they continue on to Fly, who's very low on mana now. Fade's going to try and create some distance between him and the Medusa, and he's getting there. Shockwave out. Fly now completely out of mana. He will get Fade, but Bignum still in the chase. Has a Brambles in 1 second. We'll throw it out. It will land, but fly.
Oh,
5 HP. 5 HP he'll survive on. He's all right.
oh. That's still a favorable trade for Apex. You get First Blood up on Fade. He gets a little bit more of a boon coming into that lane. You are holding back the Deuce as well to walk all the way back to base to regen before heading into the CS. So he's missing out on just one entire wave of creeps. Not going to be the best of starts here for good old Fly. We'll see how it shapes up down the line, but really good aggression early on from the side of Apex, panning out. And that call to just bully out Fly certainly does make things a little bit more hellish here for IG. Still taking a look at that top lane. Of course, you did see a little bit of a kerfuffle from Baboka trying to sneak around in the back. A rather interesting time here for our Ench. We saw the stats come out on the draft, 0% win rate for Apex, as we saw this here yesterday. If you remember yesterday, Yamsen was going all in on Spellbound. He has gone back for Overprotective Wisps in this game. So he is just going back to what we see maybe a little bit more often, just that durability to tank through some hits, the ability to just trade favorably and try to provide spacing for good old Sammy here. Now, laning-wise, the SF should be in a very happy spot. Initial levels for the Timbersaw into this matchup doesn't feel great. And even into later levels of the SF, the threat of raises, the higher levels in presence of the Dork Lord, can still make short work of Zeal. So it's not the easiest time to be a Timbersaw in here.
No, it certainly isn't. He'll be okay, though. Creep wave is right by his tier 1 tower. This thing's still going relatively smoothly for both sides. So Baboka's going to go for a big creep pool as well, and does get it behind his tier 1 tower. Wish, in the meantime, in the mid lane, has been very good at landing these Aether Remnants onto Emo and just being an absolute nuisance with this harassment from the Void Spirit, but Emo's not really struggling too much. He's still having a great old time on the Queen of Paint. Wish trying to establish some dominance here in the mid lane, but Emo does have the bottle up, so the regen can continue to come in. The thing for Wish, though, is he's kind of, apart from the CS, harass-wise, he's pretty uncontested. Like, Emo can't really do too much in the way of harassing this Void Spirit out.
Yeah, but you're kind of alright with that as a Queen of Pain. Your trading blow is fine every time he comes in with Scream of Pain anyhow. You're finding your CS, you're shoving out the wave a little bit quicker on Emo's side. It all maybe boils down to a little bit of rune control. If you can deny the first water rune, or the next set of water runes coming in, take one away from Emo, that can...
Emo can't really do too much in the way of harassing this Void Spirit out.
Yeah, but you're kind of alright with that as a Queen of Pain. Your trading blow is fine every time he comes in with Scream of Pain anyhow. You're finding your CS, you're shoving out the wave a little bit quicker on Emo's side. It all maybe boils down to a little bit of rune control. If you can deny the first water rune, or the next set of water runes coming in, take one away from Emo, that can start to open up the lane a little bit more here for Wish, if they can get that rotation out.
Ollie going to go down again. Fade able to pick up another kill for himself on this Magnus, as now they'll try on to Fly. Skewer is not available, but they are just getting rid of some of that mana on Fly, and well, this is not proven to be the easiest of lanes for this Medusa. It may get a little bit easier as he does get the levels up on the Mystic Snake, but for now, his life is constantly at risk with his mana being that low, and you can certainly see Bignum and Fade definitely trying to set up on the Medusa once the CM is down.
Yeah, I like that aggression from Apex. Again, they have a great read as to what they have to get done. Just bully out this Deuce as much as possible in the lane. Double null is up for Fly. So there's some mana sustain kicking in. And Bignum is pretty low into Ollie as he respawns in and manages to get that Frostbite off. Still, the repositional plays, the easy alignment here for connecting into that skewer back for Fade is, I think, a remarkable lane.
Yamsen's trying to be very annoying here, landing a blood grenade on an Emo, trying to chase him down for another impetus, but Baboka putting a stop to it as now Yamsen the one in danger, and Baboka's got him. Now the level 1 Mind Flare proving to be just enough to kill off Yamsen with all the damage Baboka had already done. So a nice pick up here for the Nyx Assassin. Still, Emo is gradually having a much more challenging time against Wish, who is continuing to out-harass him. But nonetheless, Emo is alive.
And he is sustaining true as best as he can on that mid. It's a little bit rougher. You've got the level advantage up now for Wish down bot.
A bit of a jump in. Fade's going to be fine. Bignum was taking a fair bit of harass. In fact, the Frostbite is going to land, and well, he'll Fairy Fire up. He'll try to run. One more hit will do it, and then, in fact, they've got it with the Blood Grenade DPS. So a nice little pick up now for Ollie. Of course, Fade not in a position he could have helped out as he just did not have Skewer off cooldown.
Yeah. Just a little bit of back and forth. Not the biggest kill to find. Certainly something that helps out just a tad bit and getting some EXP onto Fly. Yeah, quite nice to get under Dusa to try to keep scaling up. Still, the lanes for Apex Genesis, again, looking pretty sharp here in game number 2. A little bit slower for Fly bot. He's still finding CS. You have a solo lane for the SF versus Timbersaw, which does work out for the SF quite nicely. Yamson, though?
Yamson in a spot of danger. Looks like he'll be okay. Emo's going to be ultra cautious now because Wish is about to hit level 6. And he's going to do it right before Emo does. Once that level 6 is up, he might just have himself a quap kill. If he does make the immediate jump, he just needs to land an Aether Remnant. In fact, he's going to jump in now, but Emo will be okay as Ollie has rotated over to ensure he does not go down. And now, no Wish! Oh, hands up, waves him goodbye. They predicted that kind of play from Wish as soon as he hit level 6. And that's a big miss for Wish, because you really wanted to secure that kill at that level 6 mark.
He did. Unfortunately, he jumps in. Supports were still on hand, especially since they did kind of see Baboka playing tag earlier on there with Yamson. They should have known the Nyx was around the area. Manburn is up with Mind Flare. Not enough to really sustain. Now Sammy's in danger.
That's a very strong rotation from IG. Just recognizing Sammy Boy was alone, they'll make the rotation up and Zil will easily pick up a kill now on the Timbersaw. Scary times for Apex. Again, they miss the Void Spirit timing in the mid lane. They lose Sammy Boy now on the SF. Yamson's dying in the meantime to Emo, who does land the Sonic Wave, and that'll be another kill now to IG. It just really starts to feel like they've gotten off to a fantastic start here for the Radiant.
And they have. A bit slower in the initial parts of the laning phase. Again, that aggression we were seeing from Apex down bot was lining up and kind of netting them kills, but now with all of these rotations being forced around, Fly has breathing room. The 1v1 again for Sammy up top was nice, but with that timely kill for Emo, he has the space to just pressure top. They even find that top tier 1 off the back of this quap just showing up into that lane. A 6-2 start for IG, a 2k lead very early on, and Apex, this draft again is pretty up-tempo. You've got an SF that comes online very quick. We are seeing Sammy go back for the Falcon Blade that, again, a lot of carries are going to look at. Ollie being poked at mid.
He is, Ollie. It's a Frostbite off. In fact, he is set up again for Wish, I think. Wish? Oh, Wish playing a bit too aggressive here.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Loses the Belt of Strength as well to make matters worse. Oh, it's such a shame too, because he was off to such a strong start, but now he's 1 level behind Emo. Probably will get 2 levels behind very soon, as they have found Yamson as well. And Yamson really trying to help out with the XP here for the co-op, though. A nice RP from Fade to set up. But Boca and Emo both gone. Fade salvaging the mid lane.
And he does. Just great reads out from Fade. Great use of the RP. Saw Baboka trying to break that up with a Spike Carapace, maybe just a little bit too early. Linger duration is, the stun duration is not long enough to really cut off that combination and provide the angle out there for Emo. And that does even it out a little bit. Big kills for Fade, but they know RP's down and they can commit onto Fade now.
Oh, Fade's gone a bit too far. Wish is trying to join in. Falcons grasp out. They've almost got rid of all the mana of Fly, but he gets the Stone Gaze off in time. Wish gets Frostbitten, trying to survive the Stone Gaze, will just jump back out. So they did get rid of all the mana of Fly, but they just did not have enough bodies or spells to throw to get the job done. And well, of course, Ollie with the freezing foot just zoning the matters now. No, not again. Oh. Not again. 3rd death for Wish. And it's always Baboka catching him too. Yeah, just one impel lands and he just gets blown up every time.
Yeah, and that's some great timing for Emo. Has the full day gone up, gets that rotation out, gets a decent enough reveal, can now really just cast his spells without too much concern on the quap. With that little bit of spell lifesteal you have on hand with Masochist, you just get the free amp damage without any real cost here for Emo. And while all that is happening, again, Zeal is just left uncontested up top on his Timbersaw, still constantly pressuring onto that tier 1. It's been a slower game for Sammy in terms of farming up on this SF. Not really able to tried to play around early, would say to right-click. Baboka scouting nicely here.
He is, Sammy, not having the greatest of games thus far, as he will get caught out. He'll try and find a way out of this. He's got some teammates incoming. In fact, Sammy now going to turn onto Zeal. They'll turn their attention onto Baboka instead, because Zeal is already out. So Baboka going to try and buy himself some time and space to maybe TP away, but Fade is right on his tail. A nice impel is going to land. Baboka trying for the TP play up, but Fade does have an RP. And will commit it immediately, handing a free kill over to Sammy, who desperately needs it right now.
Yeah, it's a costly kill. I think you're not too upset again on IG. RP is down once more on Fade on single target. That's a minute 40 that you have here as an opening for the side of IG, without having to be concerned about that teamfight combination from the side of Apex. It doesn't land him the kill on Sammy. He is, again, happy enough to get a bonus kill, a little bit more Necromastery to stack up, more damage on himself to speed up that farm. But you are freeing up the map. Baboka buys space for literally every lane to just farm. Bot, Flyfly's just poking in slowly onto the tier 1. This Dusa set to get a really good timing onto the Manta style, and then can start to, you know, we saw what Flyfly did last game with his Manta, just dodging around. Same thing can kind of come out here if he's quick enough once more. Good old Flyfly. It cuts off the initiation of Wish as well. Although Apex will try to punish this. Amp damage rune in the bottle for Wish in the smoke.
Baboka, look at this. He's right behind Fade. He's going to jump in. This could be a bit of a bait from Fade, though, as he's getting jumped. There's not enough damage yet as Oli going to go down, and now Flyfly, a bit of a sitting duck. He'll get the Stone Gaze off. He'll try to run back towards his tier 1 tower, and looks like he may have just made it. Now, Wish does have an Astral Step charge to use, and they will get Baboka as well. Sammy picking up a double kill now. So both supports dropping, but every other core is able to successfully retreat. And even Zeal deciding just not really worth sticking around here to defend this tier 1 tower anymore. We'll just leave. And IG losing too. I mean, it's not a bad fight at all for Apex.
Yeah, again, you kind of want to feed off these support kills. You're getting a little bit more of a boon for Sammy. Again, extra Necromastery with every kill he gets. So he's stacking up a little bit more damage as he stays alive. As long as he stays alive, he will just keep scaling up there. The game does even out off the back of those kills, and the tower, less than 1k lead, or around 1k lead coming out here for IG. You are top net worth right now on good old Sammy, so that farm scaling is starting to take shape for that early timing of the SF. There has been room for Emo to just play mid, but not really able to, you know, threaten a siege by all himself here on the Quap. Is just looking for a poke response back. Still a long ways off until you're very happy here on IG anyhow in terms of items. You do have this early Atos up on Zeal, so they can try to pin down Wish a little bit easier here.
Nemo confidently standing there, hitting the tier 1 tower. Baboka, they're all going to rush in. They've got a lot of Atos out to lock down Wish, and Wish is just getting annihilated, but they do get saved here by Sammy with the Requiem. Emo is down. Zeal trying to run, also gets taken out. A beautiful setup here by the SF is now an RP, also catching the CM. That's going to be a third death for IG. And Apex Genesis now can afford to look for that mid-tier 1 tower.
They were just ready for that sort of play. They had to commit very far on the side of IG. Damage just not good enough. Going for the Atos first means that Zeal's burst potential without the Kaya isn't as high. And Wish, I mean, he just lasts long enough. Sammy with a good read on that Requiem. Again, another Necromastery stack, 24 total. Almost pretty much just permanent amp damage rune on himself. And all you can do on IG is just farm. You know, they are trying to get these connections with their mid, but you just aren't ready to burst yet on Zeal, and Flyfly's really not ready to show up in any engagement just yet.
Fade trying to look for a skill back play on the Quap, but not going to get it. Sammy Boy now at the top of the net worth board on the SF, feeling a lot better about himself. Things are maybe getting a little bit more intimidating for IG. Dropping the ball a little bit in these last engagements. Looks like Yamson's going to show himself down at bottom lane, so maybe Baboka could look for a setup, but it looks like Baboka wants to switch up through the top lane, through the Twin Gate. You haven't really seen Baboka be too greedy with the jungle creeps either. Like, he hasn't really bothered to try and maximize mind flaring creeps. He's been more so interested in just setting up ganks for his team. So the Dagon build-up is a lot slower than you would once anticipate.
and it is. I do feel that it does align with what the team wants to achieve. Again, you kind of want to play up-tempo to Quap. They were trying to do that early. It's falling a little bit flat at this point, and Apex are looking for a smoke. RP in 10 seconds here.
Don't miss out on Emo. A nice blink away from the Quap and Fade. We'll have to look for another attempt at the Queen of Pain later on. Apex, I do believe Apex can afford to play a slower game as well. Like, the SF does tend to scale pretty well, and you do still have a Void Spirit Magnus on your side as well that can do the exact same. There will be a timing where Fly still won't really be ready to fight, but Apex will definitely be ready to go, and Fly still looking like he has at least another 10 minutes of farming to really feel confident on this Medusa. Looks like he's going for the Butterfly build-up up next.
I'd say at that point you're pretty happy for Fly. And it just depends on how well his jungle's defended for that timing. They've got some pretty massive stacks in the triangle. No forward vision from the side of Apex. So a little bit more flash farm to hit that timing earlier on the Medusa. Starting to line up. The Kaya as well for Zeal, not too far off. And it's at that point where your burst damage should start to align. Right? Last time around, again, without the Kaya, with just the Atos, just not enough coming out from Emo. This time around, with the Kaya up on Zeal, again, maybe you can start to consider bursting down Wish if he is left alone. The issue is right now Apex again playing as a unit, sticking his tree on the mid, looking again.
Oh, nice RP. They've got Emo this time around, right into the brambles, and Fade, if it doesn't work out the first time, you just try again, and eventually Emo does get caught with his pants down by that tier 2 mid tower. A nice play from Apex.
Nice play. A big solo pick-off to find. Unfortunate that they don't try to commit onto objectives. And it's actually, again, the side of IG being very efficient across the map. All spread out, all farming. So, again, they're finding pick-offs. They just need to translate this into a little bit more. Maybe if they can find Zeal somehow here.
Zeal, Terrorize going to be committed here. And we'll move in with Sammy as well. Zeal not looking too tanky at the moment as he does get bursted down by Sammy once again. Oh, this SF, I mean, he's had a lot of kills being handed his way. I feel like Sammy's starting to become a huge problem. So they do end up finding Yamson at the very least down a bottom lane, but that's not exactly an equivalent trade.
Certainly not. The SF living true and getting all of these kills, it is a massive issue. You've got 5 extra Necromastery on top. You've got plus 114 damage. Quite a fair bit. You've got the maxed out presence of the Dark Lord. And it just snowballs from there. You know, Sammy has some protective play now with a Hurricane Pipe done. Going for the full Manta next, just lacking the recipe. And for the side of IG, again, it's still a waiting game on just getting Fly online. Mind you, considering that Fly hasn't had the same kill participation, he is within striking distance of Sammy's gold. About 1,000 gold apart between these cores. All the other cores rather evenly farmed, actually. So this net worth differential is just down to mostly Sammy. Still.
Fade. Gonna run into Baboka. No RP for this fight for another 10 seconds at least as Baboka actually makes it out for now, barely surviving. Fade's the one to go down. Not a great start for Apex Genesis, but a fantastic start for IG. They will at least get Wish out of there. Now Fade again just did not have the RP ready when they first initiated that fight, and it's a bit of a shame for him. Just can't guarantee the easy kill onto Baboka.
It's a pretty massive kill on an attempt for Nyx. IG, that punishment, it does set them apart a little bit more. It slows down this Magnus, who has been taking point with Wish. Again, buying space out for Sammy to scale up on this SF. And their critical timings are starting to come to a peak. Now, their itemization's pretty lined up. Maybe the next big spike is, say, the Ags timing on Wish and Fade. Double Ags timing, the Horn Toss, plus the silence coming out from the Resonant Pulse can disrupt these fights to a very high extent, especially since nothing defensive is really coming out yet. On IG, you only have the Yules on Emo. I suppose you have the Manta on Fly, but again, he's not going to be showing up to that exposed position anytime soon. 11 to 12, still a relatively even game. Kind of reminiscent of Game 1 with this early tempo from Apex. Just a little bit more scaling on hand. They do have RP again. And try to smoke off the back of this for Fade.
They will. They'll run through the Radiant Triangle here, Apex Genesis. Problem is, the only target they're going to perhaps find is Ollie. Not exactly what you want, but Ollie is in position to break the smoke to ensure that Fly does remain protected, and in fact, they won't even get the CM. So very nice positioning from Ollie to just block the entrance to those side ancients. And of course, Apex Genesis, I mean, they will at least get back into the Radiant Triangle and take a double stack of ancients themselves here for Sammy. But they do miss out on the kill they were really looking for, which is a bit of a shame.
And it is. They're trying to play out Tormentor on IG, but Boca is going to heal up. Barely. Won't get through fine, and he does get his reward in the end. And free Nick Shard can be nice with a Vendetta break. Maybe simplifying that jump onto the SF, if that is the one they'd want to go for. Or even just killing off the Amson a bit faster. Not a high priority target, though, on that Enchantress. Again, a 3k lead coming out for IG. I don't think this is too worrying for Apex. Like you said, they do scale up. I think as the game scales on, it's more on the fact that you have RP versus their own debuff Pierce here on IG, which is Stone Gaze. And RP does feel faster. It lines up for burst place a little bit quicker. The counterplay in Stone Gaze can be annoying, though, if the Deuce does pop it before the RP comes on, and you do commit as Stone Gaze is still running. There's some back and forth play on both sides in that sense. I'm keen on seeing how far Apex decides to keep this tempo, because again, IG for their part, they're not lagging behind at all in farm. Butterfly now flying out for Fly. So he's going to be hitting like a truck. He's got some missed chances as well that Sammy isn't going to be ready to really deal with. And that should provide a lot more effective HP here for Fly. Overall, just a little bit harder to burst down. You've got the Shiva's timing lining up for Emo. Already has the Veil. Just needs a plate mail and the recipe, which is fairly costly. It's going to take a little bit more time there. The Lotus Orb coming out for Zeal next as well. And we'll have a little bit of a smoke around here. 4-man smoke coming out from Apex, from the mid. Could get a good flank in.
Certainly could. A smoke on smoke situation now between these two teams.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Apex, they will run the opposite way. They'll get back into that Radiant jungle. Or Fly is frontlining. He'll have his smoke broken against Wish, so both will see each other. T1 mid tower will get taken out here by IG, so nice little freebie. Seems like Apex are pinging the bottom tier 2 tower, and they do have a siege creep still standing, so they could certainly just go ahead and try to clean this up. But Glyph will be forced. IG doing the exact same thing up at top lane. Mind you, they don't have a siege creep, but they don't really need it here with Fly and Emo. They'll just get it done the old-fashioned way, and it seems like both teams will have the gentleman's agreement to just trade tier 2 towers.
Yeah. Clearing out. I'm a little bit surprised Sammy went for Shadow Rays damage over Presence Aura affecting buildings. Again, it doesn't feel like damage is really a concern. Perhaps when that Dusa joins in, just makes it a little bit easier to burn through some extra mana with that additional Shadow Rays damage, but it does slow down that push pace, which feels like you are in a good position to leverage as Apex. Still, with a tier 2 bot cleared out, Roshan at daytime position, you have a nice opportunity to try to snag away the Aegis. And the side of IG aren't in position to contest this one. Still all the way up north, still forcing in top. They should know something else is happening on the map with no response. And Roche will just go for free. So again, very reminiscent of Game 1 here, Mike, where Apex Genesis has a strong start. IG's just slightly behind in kills. They are still ahead in net worth, and first Aegis goes the way inside of Apex. Now what I want to see is just more done with this first Aegis. You know, pressure onto more tier 2, shut down the map. Some aggressive movement out. They can't afford to just sit back and farm as we saw in Game 1.
Oh, Yamson's gonna die. Nice little setup from Baboka. And the thing is as well, like if you're IG, even with the Aegis up on Apex, you might just be thinking that you've got a really strong high ground defense with this Medusa, even against the Mag, and you may just feel like you can just kind of wait out the Aegis timer anyway. We'll see what Apex can get done with it. May end up just being a farming Aegis because Sammy, he does get the BKB up now. It's just on the in the stash on the courier. We'll bring it over. IG, are they going to try and defend the mid tier 2? It seems like the answer is probably going to be a resounding no. It's like Fade does also have the Horn Toss now available on the Magnus, so more utility now on Fade. Jump in, Baboka, feeling a little bit spicy, does pop the Spike Carapace, but is in pretty big trouble. Is now a big Sonic Wave from Emo. Oh, and Fade's the one to go down. Baboka setting up a very nice bait for his side. This Fade will drop, and Apex really can't afford to force a fight without the mag. Baboka's still having a look around for more. So will Zeal. Sammy. Oh no. He doesn't get the 4-star to the low ground, but he'll still run away. Instead, they'll focus on to Wish instead. Baboka does go down. Flyfly's rushing in to try and find himself a target. He'll focus on Sammy, but Sammy will just take down Ollie. Now the Terrorize coming in from Bignum, connecting onto the Medusa. It seems like IG do need a retreat. Even without the Magnus available, Apex Genesis, they still have a crap ton of damage. And sadly for IG, Flyfly really doesn't yet.
No, not quite. Even with a butterfly up. Again, it's a lot of EHP. You saw how little damage he was taking from that full commitment of Apex, but the output just isn't there. He's going for more stats before ending to buff up his damage as well. Going for the Scotty. Coming up next, it can tie in quite nicely with his Venomous Volley facet. The additional slow, every 5 attacks is going to feel great. So you will just cut off anyone from just running away, but again, damage issues still abound here for Flyfly. They're ultra reliant on Emo and Zeal. And the issue for Zeal is he's not the tankiest. He's going back for his Ags now. That barrier going to play a large part in him frontlining for the team. But until that's up, doesn't feel like they can really take a sustained fight. Not against Sammy, who has yet to die since getting all of these Necromastery stacks. 26 now up on him. 6 bonus. Basically amp damage rune up on this SF constantly.
Very good. Apex, they were thinking about trying to force the tier 2 top tower, but it's still kind of intimidating. Fate is coming to rejoin the team.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Oof.
It's Flyfly loses his courier. That's a bit of a shame. That was his Eye of Skadi that was completed. But now down for 3 minutes, and lines immediately drawn out by Sammy through the top lane. They know the Skadi's down. They want to go. There's also no buyback on Flyfly now. He spent all his gold for that. Uh-oh. IG maybe making a bit of an error here on their Medusa. Spade, easiest steal back of his life into the RP. Flyfly just showing for him. Requiem will connect, and Flyfly terrorized up as well. Still surviving for now, but there's no help coming. They'll 4-star him away. The Sonic Wave, it's gonna be enough. Flyfly gets a secondary chance at life somehow. My goodness, that was close, because had he died, that might have just been game.
Yeah, would have just put IG at a very ugly spot. They did have to commit Sonic Wave down for 1:10. Some openings here for the side of Apex, but they will play it safe as well. Aegis, not the most time left here for Sammy, just half a minute. Just hold back, keep building up. They know that IG just don't have a way of really going for more themselves. They will walk back into that area though, perhaps changing their minds. See if anyone straggles here on the side of IG. And they only committed RP. Requiem's down as well, as of course they were trying to get the chain control off. It's not the easiest of times to hope for that. Full Ags up now for Zeal. So he does have that barrier on the reactive armor up. And that should help with him just kind of going ham up front, trying to get all the attention on himself. And you do have 2 really tanky cores, really, on the Dusa and the Timbersaw on hand here. So at the least you can try to make it a prolonged fight. I feel like right now the big issue for IG is they need to find a way to cut off Fade from getting these big RPs, which again they've been finding these kills while RP's on cooldown, or just finally get a kill on Sammy. The fact that this SF has been allowed to get 26 Necromastery stacks is just, it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, I mean, the T2 bottom tower is just casually being taken now by IG. So the Necromastery stacks are nice, but not if he's not using them. There's a T2 bottom tower now completely gone. Apex Genesis still just sitting back and perhaps considering just waiting for the next Roshan attempt. Do they do group up as 4? Do we see a smoke committed? Well, nobody has a smoke on them, so no smoke for now. Just sticking as 5, making sure they do not split up, as they are going to see Fly mid lane by himself. Emo is going to be behind him on the higher ground though, and so will Zeal now. So they won't try for Fly. The thing is, these bait plays are super risky because you are against the mag who can just skewer you back into his team. But I suppose as we saw in that last engagement, Fly was a bit too tanky to deal with anyway. And now with the Skadi up, he's going to be that much more difficult to kill off. So they will find one. It's going to be the Dark Willow. So Big Mim is down. In fact, they'll find another. Yamsa, also caught by Baboka, should not be surviving this one. In fact, Emo will even pop the Sonic Wave just to ensure he does go down.
And it does pay off for IG. Not the biggest kills in the world. Does buy time for Apex to rip through, find a way to rip through that Dusa durability. MKB up for Sammy. So he can leverage his right click into that Dusa. Mischance not going to be providing as much EHP any longer here for Fly. Fly for his part is starting to go damage. Crystallis is up on her Dusa into the Daedalus next. Just need some time. And it'll be just down to whether or not Sammy can sit and right click this Dusa safely. Right, like whether or not the timing, the usage of Stone Gaze is going to be effective. If Fly even has room to use Stone Gaze in these fights, going to be the big factor in kind of determining which side comes on top. 6k lead still holding for IG, side of Apex. Again, they're still getting farm in. Full BKB up for Wish, going for the Octarine. Again, has had the Ags for a while. Sammy with his fresh MKB. You're going into a BKB now for Fade as well. Triple BKB timings going to be massive. Up against the side of IG, as IG themselves, again, haven't really gone for the strongest defense. Still going full offense on Emo, trying to go for the Ags. You have at least one BKB for Zeal. No such thing for Fly, of course. So that is the one concern going forward. But again, BKB into Magnus never feels great to have to buy anyhow. And we'll see Apex smoke with these big items being picked up here.
There we go. Smoke on smoke situation between these two teams again. Apex Genesis trying to go through the Radiant jungle while IG just hanging by the tree line of the bottom lane. Roshan's still a minute away from respawning, but winner of this fight certainly has access to that Roshan. No question about that. Well, Zeal may have his smoke broken. He will reveal. He'll break the smoke of Sammy, but he has been silenced up initially, and he is going down quite quickly, but he does pop the Ags now, but the skill back play from Fade going to allow them to take down Zeal first, but now Emo jumping in with a big Sonic Wave, taking down Fade on the Magnus. Problem is Emo, he might die to boot. He'll get a Yulsip off just in the nick of time, but the Aether Remnant is going to lock him down, and Emo will go down. Sammy picks up a triple kill, but he is down. 3 for 3, Jonathan, believe it or not, in all that chaos. 3 for 3.
Yeah, and it works out well for IG. Sure, you lose some big heroes. They still manage to find a way to make that pretty rough start of the fight work for themselves. Losing Zeal straight up before he can really apply any damage is already a big loss for IG. But this position held by Fly, right in the flank, in the rear flank, managing to just dish the damage out. Sammy not focused on the Dusa whatsoever. A little bit surprising considering, again, he got this MKB. He could try to face in, but the Stone Gaze timing was perfect from Fly. And that kind of comes down to the RP commitment this time from Fade. Focusing onto one, providing room for the rest of the heroes of IG to still try to play. And Fly can still clear Roche solo. He'll find us all to himself. Have a secondary life already. Has a lot of damage set to come in. Is trying to work towards a Swift Blink next as the full Daedalus is now up. And the lead grows wider. IG take the lead in kill board, 18-17, and they take a 7k lead for themselves. And again, the issue for Apex, it's almost like they kind of missed their timing. I mean, on this SF, when he was really strong, when he had so much additional Necromastery stacks, again, they just couldn't shut down the map. Still 1 tier 2 standing, not able to really try to dig into high ground, or even pressure the tier 2s earlier than you'd want. Maybe, again, stemming from these talent choices out from Sammy. Going for Shadow Ray's damage over Presence or affecting buildings when you could just take a fight, use the Presence of the Dark Lord, pass it, plus your talent to just siege easily, and just try to choke out IG. And they play it safer. They play it more calculated, and again, IG, even in a equal or slightly less favorable position, can still scale and can still find that build-up they need.
Might go again very soon. Baboka's having a scout around. They see Fade. Fade getting jumped on the mag. Cannot really afford to die like this, but he's gone. And he does have Virak available at the very least, so you are going to have the Magnus available if you do see a high ground attempt forced by IG, which it certainly feels like they are setting up for. See, Fade would prefer not to have to commit that gold right now because he is trying to get to his BKB timing, and his BKB is rather close, but he might need to buy back very soon because the fight has started. They are making the jump in on Sammy, and Sammy can't really run away from this eye of Skadi of the Medusa. He'll force staff out, but the chase is still kind of on. Zil will jump in, forcing the BKB now of Sammy. Meanwhile, Bignum does die, and so does Sammy. Fly and Emo taking him out. He will buy it back, but Fade is still holding on. Fade did not press that buyback button that whole time.
No, he really wants that BKB. It's a little bit rough with his buyback on Sammy. He doesn't have Requiem, has less souls, less damage to play with here.
Well, they're going to get an impale off onto Sammy, but the force staff away is going to create enough distance as Wish. Still trying to chip away at Fly and take down that Aegis.
Damage.
Yeah, Fly is a real problem now. And that mid-rack certainly can go down as well. Oh, a Yule Scepter on Fade! This time he has to buy back, surely. They're not going to stick around for just one. They're going to go for more now. IG, of course, seeing the opening as Fade will finally commit a buyback. Tier 3 tower for the top lane is gone. Wish will jump back in onto Fly, but Fly is happy to just man up through it. Still 2.5 minutes on the Aegis timing for Fly. It is not disappearing anytime soon.
No.
And that's a top rack.
Just gonna find it.
Dire's top barracks has fallen.
Or do they go for the Megas? The answer looks like it's probably going to be a bit of a yes. Because there's no real reason to pack off. Everyone's still full HP. And Fly still has a secondary life. Yeah. Do they want to play safely? I mean, they have no creep wave for the bottom lane, so they might just go through the bot lane first with a creep wave and ensure they don't have to play with any shenanigans here from Apex.
It looks like they're going to go for a little bit more of a measured response out from the side of IG. Man, that was a quick Yules out there from Emo, I do believe. And they have multiple Yules up on IG to cut off that angle. Not the best position for Fade, trying to just get in as fast as possible to try to RP at least one big target and hopefully snowball off of that. Just gets punished nicely. BKB stalled out once more for Fade as he was forced to buy back to try to hold on. On the side of IG, and they've got the Swift Blink up on Fly, a little smoke behind him, still 1.5 minutes in the Aegis. Not too much to be scared of here.
Absolutely not. Fly onto the high ground once again. They'll force staff him out of there. Sammy trying his best to chip away at his mana pool, but it's just such a slow process, and Sammy's taking too much damage. Every time he gets close to Fly as now Zil jumps in. Trying for Bignum. And Bignum is gone. In fact, Sammy almost dying. Forced to pop the BKB to survive. But the bottom racks is going and there's no answer to it. In fact, Sammy Boy's going to buy a Diffusal Blade. I don't know about this. Here we go. They found Zil. Nice skewer back play onto Zil at the very least, but Zil's got the axe. He'll just man up, tank all the damage, and Sammy is down. Obviously, that's a dieback on the SF, and that should be a GG call to come out from Apex Genesis. I mean, it was a better performance here